は小さくてもいつか大きく響かせるため転んで傷つきまた起き上がれば新しい景色が広がるからスーパーマンになる方法なんて知らないだけどイメージだけはずっと完璧さ Let it go 走り続けて Let it go このまま行けばきっとたどり着けそうじゃん夢のかけら掴み損ねたってがむしゃらにかき合ってて雨の朝も風の夜も越えてゆくのさもっともっと遠くへ
Hey guys, Samurai here, back in with another episode of the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet series. It's been a couple of weeks since Ash's battle against Gracias, and Ash has truly gotten invested in his teaching job. He's training for next year's tournament as well, and some of his old Pokemon has actually evolved. These Pokemon being Boulder into Gigalith and his Weasel into Floatzel, along with his Scraggy into Scrafty. Goa has been training his butt off with Danica and Arvin, trying to get on their level and studying new further. Koharu is making waves with her training with Dendra and Ugina and is learning how to actually battle instead of just saying a bunch of moves. This is when Nemona seems to continue her bad rate of winning, though she is making waves, testing out new battle styles, and using the new app that Penny made for her, but the results are middling. But currently, Ash is teaching his students about the Elite Four systems in different regions, explaining how they work, and he explains that Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, and Kalos, along with Paldea, have proper Elite Four systems and unique members who are ranked in terms of strength. He explains how these trainers are extremely powerful and often the peak of the region's battle ability. He fought a lot of them and they've definitely earned their stripes. This is when Jock and Dendra run into the room, telling Ash that they have some urgent news. Ash is confused on why they're acting like something major just happened, and this is when it gets revealed to Ash that his training got leaked by a magazine. Ash is furious about this, like this is the maddest his students has ever seen him. This is when he asks if Gita is still in the building, and Jock confirms that she is, and Ash bolts out the room with Pikachu. Dendra is still here to pick up both Go and Koharu, and she's aware of both of their goals now after talking with Ash, and she's organized a tag battle for those against the second years. This is when Go is excited to level up his strength and leaves the classroom to do some training beforehand. This is when Nemona also is ready to leave and re-challenge the gym leader Rhyme, as after she beat Gracias, she thought that it would be the best next place to go to interact with some ghost types, not to mention she's been a really big fan of her music and has always wanted to battle her. This is when Koharu is a bit confused as she's the last person in class. She asks why Ash was so furious about his information getting leaked. This is when Jock explains that Ash originally came to Paldea to train for a tournament next year. He wanted to train in secret to surprise all his opponents and to get a leg up on the competition. As Ash is still a relatively young and new champion, not a lot of people know his strategies, as they could watch old battles that he participated in. Those would be outdated by the point in time he finished his training, and he really wanted to keep it secret. This is when we can cut to Ash, who has finally made it to Clavel's office. Ash is frustrated and infuriating, asking for Gita, but she just left for the day, and Ash is incredibly frustrating. He realizes that he can use his energy in a gym battle and is incredibly frustrated that he can't get anywhere. This is when Clavel, before Ash can leave, arranges for one of Gita's associates to meet him in the nearby city of Madali. This is where Ash was going to head anyways, as he knows that there's a gym there and he's been meaning to challenge it. Here's where we can cut to Go and Koharu getting some training in before their tag battle. This is when Koraidon and Miraidon are taking a nap. This is when Team Rocket attacks, expecting Ash to be there, but he's not currently present. Now they're kind of embarrassed, but they end up trying to take their Pokemon out anyways. This is when in the result of the battle, Miraidon ends up using a move like a raw kind of shockwave similar to Koraidon in episode 1 that ends up sending Team Rocket packing. This is when in the ensuing chaos, a family of Mousehold got separated. This is when the two parents and one of the kids get separated from another one of the kids, and Koharu feels really bad about this as she blames herself, and she saw on which direction they went in. This is when she hops on Miraidon and tells Go that she'll be back in time for their double battle. Go agrees to this, saying that he would do the same, and tells her not to be late. This is when Go uses this time to study more about the Titans and read some more on them, confident that he'll win after all his training, along with his smarts. Here's where we can cut to Nemona, who has just made it to the gym. She's getting ready to do her double battle, and she's going with her Rock Ruff and her Kwame. But she's not really used to using both Pokemon at the same time, not to mention she can't use both Pokemon to the fullest as she keeps on focusing on one and ignoring the other while she needs to be focusing on both. She ends up losing pretty badly, and she asks Rhyme where she went wrong. Rhyme explains that doing the double battle requires a lot of work and teamwork and learning how your Pokemon work together on the field. And Nemona takes this to heart and asks if they can have a rematch soon. Rhyme says she's welcome to come and challenge her at any time. Here's where we can go to Ash, who just entered the restaurant, and he needs something to eat before he fights the gym. He sits beside a man in a suit as both are tired. The two end up having a conversation. This man is obviously Larry, and he talks about how he had 3 jobs to work at, and he's just here to unwind for a bit before he goes to one of them. Ash can kind of agree, but Larry says that he has work to do, and Ash and Larry both leave at the same time, go on the same path, as they both end up at the gym. Ash is surprised realizing that Larry is the gym leader, but Larry is fairly blunt with how he runs his gym, just a simple battle, and they can get in and get out. This is when Larry explains the rules. It's a 3v3 battle with all the similar jargon that you would see at another gym. This is when we can see a drone Rotom zoom in on Ash. This is when they each send out their Pokemon. Larry sends out his Komala and Ash sends out his Finizen. The battle is fairly even, with Ash using Aqua Jet and Double Hit to great use here, and Larry's just trying to keep up with defense. But this is when Ash goes out to finish off Komala. Komala goes in for a hit, but this is when Ash uses the move counter, knocking Komala out and giving Ash the W here. But as Ash celebrates, the Rotom drone is still recording him, and he doesn't notice due to the intensity of the battle. Larry, admitting that Ash is impressive, but he's still marginally unfazed, sends out his Dunsparce. This absolutely amazing Ash, seeing that there's another Pokemon that he's always wanted to catch, has an evolution here. He's never even heard of this Pokemon, but it gets him fired up, and he commands Finizen to use Aqua Jet. Larry tells his Pokemon to use Grow Run as the Pokemon clash. But over time, Finizen does get exhausted, as Komala, as easy as we thought it was, Finizen did use up a lot of energy. Ash commands Finizen to use its strongest water gun to take out Dunsparce, and Larry uses a full power Hyper Beam. As the move clashes, Ash does end up losing, but he's not deterred. He thanks Finizen for an amazing job and sends out his Smolin. Now round 2 can truly start. Smolin's aggressive personality easily translates into her tackle. This rivals the Draw Run, but Larry is not just going to roll over and lose. He uses his signature move, being Facade. Ash tells Smolin to use Razor Leaf, and with endless determination, it allows it to knock out Dunsparce. However, due to its overexertion, Smoliv ends up knocking herself out. Ash thanks Smoliv for an amazing battle, saying that they got one step closer in order to get the badge. Both Ash and Larry send out their last Pokemon. Ash sends out Watchel, and Larry sends out Staraptor. It's an air battle, with each giving their all. However, Staraptor just hits a bit too hard, and Watchel's biggest weakness is its lack of endurance for long battles. As we talked about in the earlier episode, Smolin's biggest weakness is that it can do really well in short bursts, but in a long battle, it can get fairly weak. Watchel is pushed to its limits, but gains the resolve after Ash encourages it. Ash knows exactly what's about to happen, and he calls out for his Kilo Watchel, and her new move, Spark. But Spark is replaced with Wild Charge. While you expect this to knock out Staraptor, Staraptor has a great experience, and it gets paralyzed. This is when Larry sees the opportunity to terrestrialize into a normal type and uses the move Facade, which is boosted. Ash, seeing the writing on the wall, Terra's into an electric type, and with a supercharged Wild Charge, the clashes are immense and quick. However, at the end of the battle, it ends with Ash's victory. This is when we can hear somebody applauding the battle, this being Rika, Gita's associate that's here to pick up Ash. She congratulates Ash on an amazing battle and his win, not to mention saying that Ash must be really strong if he's able to take on one of the members of the Elite Four. This surprises Ash for a bit as he never knew Larry was a member of the Elite Four. This is Larry's second job, of course, and this is the other job he was talking about that he also dreads doing all the time, as it's a lot of work. This is when Rika reveals that she's here to take Ash to the Zero Institute where Gita's headquarters is, and they take a sky taxi there. This is when we can cut to Koharu, who finally reunites the households with each other. It's a joyous reunion, but this is when Team Rocket strikes again, but the household agree to help Koharu, and they deal with them hastily. This is when Koharu is really happy and makes her way back to the academy for the tag battle. However, the households get in the way of Miraidon wanting to join her team, and she's incredibly excited by this, having more new Pokemon to add to her team, along with more variety to help out taking on Team Star. This is when she finally makes it back and she apologizes for being late. However, Go says that they were just about to get started, so she shouldn't worry and she should focus on the battle. This is when Go sends out his Wooper and Koharu sends out her Flittle. Dendra comments on the unique combo of those two Pokemon. However, Arvin sends out his Capskid and Danica sends out her Dratini. The battle is an actual easy one for the second years. Despite Go's training and Koharu's training, they don't work well together as a team, as Go is not taking any of Koharu's information into consideration because he believes that he's the smartest person in the room and knows all the answers. Koharu's afraid to put her foot down and she doesn't want to see things in Go's way, so they end up getting in each other's way. However, the second years work together a bit better. While they're not doing it to the fullest extent, they damn put aside their differences and work together as a team. This ends up giving them an easy victory and knocking both Go and Koharu out. This is when Dendro, who's watching the whole battle and taking notes, ends up dismissing all of them, telling the first years that their teamwork needs work and that it's practically non-existent. She admits that the second years work much better, but she dismisses all of them once again, and the kids go off on their own to chill for the rest of the evening. This is when we can cut to Nemona, who's trying to work together with her Pokemon. This is when Nemona can see that a Pokemon is also training like her, this being the Pokemon Mienfoo. It's striking down a tree trying to train to the best of its ability, but it's having no luck. This is when Nemona gives some tips to Mienfoo about her own Plami, as they have a very similar body shape. This is when Mienfoo, amazed at Nemona's skill and strength, decides to join its team, regardless of Nemona's opinion on it. But Nemona's always excited to have a new battling buddy, and she ends up attaching Mienfoo. She notices that in Mienfoo's dex entry that it has the Terra type of Dark, and she realizes that she could use this as an advantage against Rhyme, and they end up training into the late evening, getting ready for their battle with Rhyme later. Here's where we can cut to the rematch with Rhyme. This is when the double battle is quite intense, but Nemona is using a different kind of setup. She's using Quaxly and Mienfoo. This is when we can see Nemona's kind of using cheaper tactics than a normal battler should. It's not like she's cheating, but it's almost like she's just being relentless with her attacks, not really giving the chance for the opponent to breathe. It's not really in a way where this is someone's battle style, similar to Ash's quick and nimble battle style that often relies on quick moves that don't give them the time for the opponent to breathe in a right way. It's more, she keeps on hitting them and not like giving. Basically, it's kind of using cheap tactics, similar how in a fighting game you get someone in a corner and then you keep on hitting them, not really giving them the chance to block, breathe, or really do anything in order to attack you. Rhyme notices this, but she feels like it'd be better to bring up with Nemona's teacher, as again, Rhyme's sister works at the school, so she knows who Ash is. She feels like it's a better way to bring that up to Ash, but Nemona ends up getting the badge here, along with her new Mienfoo, which she paired into a dark type, using the move Knockoff, giving her the victory here. This is when we can finally cut back to Ash, who has just landed in the Zero Institute. This is when Rika gives him a tour of the facilities. She shows off their top-of-the-line research labs, researching the raid phenomenons that happen in Paldea, researching them. This is when they also show off the Pokemon daycare and nursery. This is also where she shows off the Elite Four. This is when the Elite Four is revealed to be herself, Hassel, the art teacher who Ash has already met, Larry, which again surprises Ash, as again he didn't expect that, and finally Ranford. This is also when a young child around 9 years old runs up to Rika saying that she's a member too. However, Rika also adds that there's an orphanage for fledgling trainers with high amounts of potential, and that Poppy is a prodigy, but she's too young to be an Elite Four member yet. They also have the leading research center of terrestrialization, studying all of its effects and using it in battle along to monitor its effect. This is when we can see that Ash can see Quillian fighting a bunch of associates, testing out the Terra Sync ability, turning Noivern into a flying type, and the readings come back as stable, as Ash is surprised that he's never been to such a big observatory with these kind of labs before. It's such a high-tech place that he's never seen before. But Ash came for Gita, and this is when Rika says that her office is on the bottom floor, as Rika takes Ash onto the elevator, and they have a conversation about one of Ash's old rivals, being Rinto, with Rika asking how Rinto's doing, and Ash keeps it very simple, saying that they chat every once in a while, with Rika saying that it's good that he has friends like Ash. However, he wasn't too social back in his academy days. He only really talked to two kids, with them being more rivals than friends. Ash really says that they're more acquaintances than friends, but this is when they finally get to the bottom floor, with Ash running into Gita's office, with Gita making a formal apology, as Ash wasn't expecting this. She's truly done her best to hide Ash from the paparazzi, but she says that she'll handle the issue and issue Ash a new Chaldean ID. With his former name being Han, his new name will be Sacha. Along with this, he can train in the Pokemon reserves owned by the Zero Institute. Ash is surprised once again that she was so prepared for this. She has also strike down most of the images, and Gita apologizes once again and sends Ash on his way. With Rika surprised that Gita did all of this for Ash. This is after Ash left the room, by the way. But this is when Gita says that Ash will help Quillian gain more strength. Not to mention, she wants to stay on Ash's good side for now, as Ash could be a useful tool in the future. This is when outside, Ash, with new confidence, gets ready to head back to the academy and sends out his Psychozar. But just as he was about to, he gets a phone alert. This is pics from his battle with Larry, but he's confused. This mystery person tells Ash to meet him in Lavencia sooner rather than later, if he wants these pictures taken down. Again, he has to meet this person in Lavencia in around a month, or else they'll post the pictures anyway. Ash agreeing to this, seeing that he has no other choice. And that's the end of this episode of Pokemon. Sorry if this episode was a bit everywhere. I kind of had to place together different things and events, as I'm not ready to have certain events happen yet, along with the story moving too fast, but I realized that we needed some sort of plot. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We got a lot of setup in this episode, so make sure you stay tuned for the next one. Samurai out.